what's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again, and today we're going to review Knock Knock. So Knock Knock stars Keanu Reeves, and what this film is about, it's about, he's a married man, he has children, and, his wife and his kids go out for the weekend, and, he's home alone, and when these girls show up at his house late at night, because, they got wet and they're trying to get somewhere, basically these girls trick him into doing some stuff, and then the next night they come back and basically punish him now, and it basically turns into a home invasion film. So, what did I think of Knock Knock? Okay, 2015 has given us, it's been an up and down spiral with 2015. It really has. It has given us some great films, and then some really bad movies. It's been up and down, like, you can't even follow it, because that's how much 2015 has just been going all over the place with movies. And then this thing comes along. This thing. Knock Knock. This movie is garbage. This movie is awful. Knock Knock is terrible. It's awful. Let's get into my positives. I have no positives. Zero with this movie. Nothing's good about this movie. Nothing at all. Tell me one positive with this movie. Tell me. You can't, because there's none. So let's get into my negatives, because I have a lot of negatives with this movie. The acting with the film. The acting is horrendous with this movie. The acting is so bad. Keanu Reeves. Okay, Keanu Reeves. Last year, you were in one of the best action movies of last year. It's called John Wick. It was awesome. I love that movie. That movie was so incredible in terms of his action, and he was great in the movie. That was one of his best performances in that movie. And then he does this. This movie. How do you go from John Wick to this? And he's awful in this movie. He's terrible. He's so horrible in this movie. But he's like the best actor compared to these two women. Oh my goodness. These two women are so awful. Oh my goodness. You thought the duo of Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara were bad? They are Thelma and Louise compared to these two. These two are so horrendously bad that it is... You almost want to stop watching the movie because of them. That's how bad it is. They are horrible in this movie. Especially the brunette one. She's like Eli Roth's wife in real life. The director of the film. Wonder where she got her acting from. Oh my goodness. She is so bad. Oh my goodness. This is one of the worst female performances I think I've ever seen in my entire life. She is horrible. And then the blonde one. She's equally as bad. There's this one scene where, they have Keanu Reeves tied down to a bench. She's like, Daddy, why don't you do this to me, Dad? It makes you want to pull your hair out. I'm not kidding you. Oh, my goodness. They're so bad in this movie. Everybody's horrible. All the acting is just terrible. The dialogue is terrible with this movie. The dialogue is some of the worst dialogue you will ever see on screen. It is awful. The story makes absolutely no sense. 0 cents. You cannot tell me that anything makes sense in this movie, because it doesn't. Nothing makes sense in this movie. At all. It's one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life. The writing is awful with this movie. The writing is so bad with Knock Knock. It is some bad writing. Oh my goodness. The directing is awful with this movie. The directing is terrible with this movie. It's directed by Eli Roth. Now, I mean, I've never been really mad. Okay, the one time I was really mad at Eli Roth was for Hostel Part 2, which is one of the worst horror films I've ever seen. Hostel 1 was okay, but Hostel Part 2, whoof, this is worse than both of those movies. It is. Knock Knock is... His directing for the film is awful. It really is. It is awful with this movie. The pacing is terrible. This movie is so boring, especially for the first 40 minutes of the film. Nothing really happens. All they do is just talk. All they do is just sit around and talk for the first 40 minutes of the film. Nothing happens. And you're just sitting there bored out of your mind. And then when you get to the actual torture stuff, it's underwhelming and terrible. You want to see a good, at least torture type film? See Saw. At least Saw had good characters and some good directing with it. This does not. Guys, Knock Knock. Knock Knock is one of the worst films I think I've witnessed in a very... 2 movies this year! 2 movies from this year are some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. 2 from this year. Oh my goodness. This movie managed to be worse than The Loft, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, Pixels, and The Gallows. How? I've got nothing else. I've got nothing else for this movie. Honestly, I don't. I just don't. The only reason it's not worse than Human Centipede 3 is because Human Centipede 3 just put me in like a trance. Just put me in shock for about 4 weeks. That's how much I hated that movie. This movie, I hate too. I hate it with a burning passion. It is horrible. I could not stand this movie. If we could tell by now, this movie gets an F. This movie is horrible. Never see this movie. Please, please don't see this movie. It's horrible. I couldn't stand this. If you like this movie, how? So what do you guys think of Knock Knock? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm WWE Fan 0599, and we'll see you all later. Peace.